They thought it was just an old library book, a dusty, forgotten hardcover tucked away on a back shelf. But when Emily Carter flipped through its yellowed pages, she found something no one was meant to see. A single envelope, unmarked, sealed tight. Inside it, a handwritten confession, a name, a date, and a chilling message that read, "She didn't just disappear. I buried her where the river bends." What would you do if you found a letter like this? Would you hand it over to the police? Would you keep it to yourself, fearing the truth? Or would you dig into a decades-old secret that someone clearly killed to keep hidden? Tonight we follow Emily's discovery, and what starts as a quiet afternoon at the library will spiral into a dark investigation of lies, betrayal, and buried crimes. Stay with us, because this story will make you question everything. What would you have done if you found that letter? Let us know in the comments what city you are watching from, and make sure to watch till the end. Like, share, and subscribe, because this story, it's about to get very real. It was a rainy Tuesday afternoon in the small town of Millbrook, Ohio. Emily Carter, a college sophomore and avid reader, was helping her local library sort donations. She was shelving books, most of them worn, some falling apart, when one caught her attention. It was a faded red mystery novel from the late 70s. The spine was cracked. The pages smelled like damp paper and old secrets. Emily flipped through it absent-mindedly. That's when she saw it. A thin, cream-colored envelope, tucked between pages 112 and 113. Her first thought, someone must have used it as a bookmark decades ago. But when she picked it up, her heart skipped. The envelope wasn't addressed. It wasn't even yellowed with age like the pages around it. It was newer, like someone had placed it there, intentionally. Emily hesitated, but curiosity got the best of her. She slid her finger under the seal and opened it. Inside was a single piece of paper, folded 3 times. In neat cursive handwriting, it said, "She didn't just disappear. I buried her where the river bends." No name, no signature, just that line, and a date in the corner, June 14th, 1987. Emily froze. 1987, nearly 40 decades ago. Her hands trembled as she stuffed the letter back into the book. Her mind raced. Was this a joke? Some kind of prank? Or a real confession? Emily checked out the book under her name. She told no one what she'd found, not yet, but that night she couldn't sleep. Something about that date haunted her, so she pulled out her laptop and searched Millbrook 1987 missing persons. What she found made her blood run cold. There it was, a black and white photo of a smiling teenage girl with long curly hair. Jessica Palmer, age 16, last seen June 14th, 1987. Jessica vanished walking home from a summer party. Her family searched for months. Volunteers combed the woods, the riverbanks, every back road in town. But she was never found. The case went cold. Emily stared at the screen, her heart pounding. The date matched. The letter wasn't a joke. Someone had left a confession in that book. The next morning, Emily returned to the library, determined to find out where that book came from. She approached Mrs. Danvers, the elderly librarian who'd worked there since the 70s. "Excuse me," Emily asked, holding up the book. "Do you know where this came from?" Mrs. Danvers squinted at the cover. "That's, old," she muttered. "We've had it for years. I think it was part of a private donation. "Do you know who donated it?" Emily pressed. The librarian frowned, thinking. "It could have been from the Palmer estate," she said slowly. "Jessica's parents. After she disappeared, they donated a lot of her things. Books, clothes, toys, said they couldn't bear to keep it all." Emily's heart nearly stopped. This wasn't random. This was Jessica's book. The confession had been hidden in Jessica's own belongings. Emily knew she couldn't handle this alone anymore. She called the police. Detective Marcus Hale met her at the library. At first he looked skeptical. Another mystery letter, another cold case reopened for no reason. But when he read it, his expression changed. His jaw tightened. "This handwriting, it looks familiar," he muttered. He bagged the letter for evidence and questioned Emily about everything she had done since finding it. Then he said something that sent chills down her spine. "Emily, don't talk to anyone about this, not yet. If this is real, someone out there has been carrying a dark secret for 38 years, and they might not want us finding out." Emily nodded, fear settling deep in her chest. She didn't realize it yet, but she'd just stumbled into a web of danger, and someone in Millbrook was already watching. Detective Hale began digging. He pulled the original case file on Jessica Palmer. Back then, suspicion had fallen on a local mechanic named Gary Weller. He was seen arguing with Jessica at a party the night she vanished, but without evidence, the case fizzled. Weller moved away. Jessica's family faded into quiet grief. Now this letter had reignited everything. Emily, meanwhile, couldn't stop herself from investigating too. She visited the old Palmer house. It was abandoned now, paint peeling, windows broken, but in Jessica's bedroom, still faintly decorated with pink wallpaper, she found something. Carved into the wooden bed frame were 3 letters. G.W. Gary Weller. Her stomach sank. Was this proof Jessica had been seeing him? Was he the one who killed her? Emily left the Palmer house shaken. That night, as she walked back to her dorm, she had the distinct feeling she was being followed. She turned. No one. The street was empty, but the feeling wouldn't leave. When she got to her car, she saw something under the windshield wiper. A single piece of paper. "Stop digging." Her blood ran cold. Emily rushed home and called Detective Hale. He came over immediately, his face grim. "This isn't just about Jessica," he said quietly. This is bigger than one girl. Someone in this town has been hiding bodies, and if you're not careful, Emily, you might be next." The episode ends here. A mysterious letter, a cold case, and a warning that someone is willing to kill to keep their past buried. What secrets does Millbrook hold? Who left that confession? And why now? And what will Emily uncover if she keeps going? The note had been simple, handwritten, but it carried decades of buried screams. Check the well behind the Miller house. She never left. Emily stared at the crumpled slip of paper in her shaking hands, the library suddenly feeling like a tomb. The small town whispers, the girl who vanished, the family that moved away overnight. It wasn't just a story, it was a confession. Emily's discovery from part 1 had already cracked something open, something the town had worked decades to bury. She called Detective Harris, the same investigator who'd quietly shelved this cold case in the late 90s. When he heard the words "hidden note" and "Miller house," his voice dropped. "Stay where you are, Emily. Don't tell anyone." Hours later, police cruisers lined the forgotten dirt road that led to the abandoned Miller property. The house was skeletal, windows shattered, ivy crawling over rotting boards. But behind it stood a moss-covered well, sealed with rusted chains. The moment Harris saw it, his face turned white. "This is it," he muttered. Crime scene tape went up. A search team pried open the well's corroded lid. What they pulled out froze the air. Bones, jewelry, a faded pink sweater. The remains of Sarah Whitmore, the 17-year-old girl who disappeared in 1985. Sarah's disappearance had haunted the small town for decades. Rumors swirled. She'd run away with a boyfriend, joined a traveling carnival, left a life too small for her dreams. But now that narrative crumbled. Someone had silenced her and hidden her in plain sight. Forensics confirmed the sweater, the locket engraved with her initials. It was Sarah. The town reeled. The Miller family's name surfaced immediately. Their youngest son, David Miller, was Sarah's classmate. He'd been questioned in the 80s, but never arrested. The Millers sold their home just weeks after Sarah disappeared, moving across the country. The note's handwriting was carefully analyzed. Not David's, not his parents'. Then Harris noticed something chilling. The library card tucked in the back of the book where Emily found the note? It had been checked out last 2 months ago. Someone alive placed that note. Someone wanted this uncovered now. Emily became obsessed. She started combing through newspaper archives, microfilm reels, and the dusty yearbooks stacked in the library basement. That's when she found a photo. Sarah Whitmore, smiling at the spring carnival. Standing beside her, David Miller and his uncle, Tom Miller. Tom wasn't questioned back then. He was a respected man, a quiet carpenter known for helping around town. But Emily noticed something odd. Tom's name was listed as the last contractor hired to repair the well. 2 months before Sarah vanished. Police began digging into Tom's past. That's when the dam broke. A retired officer revealed something he'd been too afraid to say in '85. Tom was questioned briefly, but released because his brother, the town sheriff at the time, insisted Tom wasn't capable of violence. The investigation had been deliberately steered away from him. A cover-up. Tom Miller had died 10 years ago, but a search of his workshop, still locked and untouched, revealed more than anyone expected. Inside, detectives found Polaroids of Sarah Whitmore the night she disappeared, jewelry and clothing from other missing women, their cases unsolved, a journal filled with confessions. Tom had been a serial predator, protected by his brother, the sheriff. Sarah wasn't his only victim. But who left the note in the library book? Detectives traced the handwriting. It matched a nurse who'd been caring for Tom in his final years. In her interview, she broke down. Tom told me everything before he died. He said he couldn't sleep. He wanted Sarah's family to have peace. I found that book in the library, and I thought maybe God wanted me to do it. Her courage cracked open the case. The truth spread like wildfire. The former sheriff, now in his 70s, was arrested for obstruction of justice. Sarah's family finally held a memorial, 40 years late. Emily stood at the graveside, clutching the very book where the note was hidden. She realized how close Sarah had been all these years, how a single decision, leaving a message in a forgotten book, had rewritten history. This story is more than a crime solved. It's a warning. Silence protects predators. Power shields monsters. But truth, no matter how deeply buried, has a way of clawing its way out. Sometimes justice doesn't come from courtrooms or badges. Sometimes it comes from ordinary people who refuse to let evil win. Emily placed flowers on Sarah's grave. As she turned to leave, she felt a tap on her shoulder. An elderly woman she'd never met handed her a folded envelope. Sarah wasn't his only secret. You need to read this. Emily's hands shook as she opened it. Inside was another handwritten note. One line stood out in crimson ink. Look under the floorboards of the sheriff's old office. The screen fades to black. What other horrors lie hidden in this small town? How many voices were silenced? And how deep does this cover-up go? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Hit that like button, share this story, and subscribe for more chilling tales.